Say Drake. Welcome back to Exceptionally Unexceptional, the podcast where I take football way too personally and refuse to be remotely humble when I'm correct about anything. I'm your host, Kathleen Chantel, and today we're diving into the aftermath of Super Bowl 59. We are celebrating, basking, and reveling in the absolute glory of the Philadelphia Eagles' Super Bowl domination. The Eagles absolutely destroyed the Chiefs 40-22, and I don't know about you, but I'm feeling like I loved every minute of it. No stress, no late game heartbreak, just a good old-fashioned beatdown. The kind of win where you don't need a post-game recap because the score tells the entire story. Honestly, it got to the point where I felt bad for the Chiefs. Every time they kept showing Travis's sad face on screen, it broke my heart a little bit. It looked like that man was going through every stage of grief in real time. And Taylor, queen that she is, was clearly trying to be supportive. However, you could tell she was grieving as well. It was like watching a nature documentary where an eagle swoops in and catches its prey, except the prey was a chief and it was broadcast to millions of people. And just when you thought their suffering was over, another Philly touchdown, another turnover. Now, I must say, I fucking called it. I called it at the end of the season when the Chiefs lost 38-0 to the Broncos because no team has ever put up 0 points in a regular season game and then gone on to win the Super Bowl. And they still haven't. Maybe some records just are not meant to be broken. Speaking of things I called, at the end of last season, I do believe I called Kenny Pickett getting a Super Bowl ring. Did I not? I actually made a joke after Philly's second score, I think, and I was like, at this rate, we're going to see Kenny Pickett on the field by the end of the night. And lo and fucking behold, we sure fucking did. I am absolutely living for the revenge of Kenny Pickett. Getting disrespected and treated like garbage by your own team, traded away to be a backup after being a first-round draft pick, and then playing in and winning the Super Bowl while your old team barely limps into the first round of playoffs where they take it on the back. What is that I smell? A fucking fumble by the Pittsburgh Steelers. But, that's a very unpopular opinion. The irony, delicious. The Steelers can get wrecked on this, quite frankly. But let us not forget the real star of the Super Bowl, Kendrick Lamar. From the second that Kendrick and his jeans took the stage, he spent every moment proving why he is a Pulitzer Prize winner, why he has so many Grammys. The entire set list was a masterpiece, but let's be real, the moment the opening beats of Not Like Us dropped, the first time, he fucking had us. And then the second time, he had us again. And then the third time, shame on us, he still had us. And eventually, the beat dropped for real, and it was game fucking over. It was not a halftime show. It wasn't even a declaration of war. It was climbing up a hill at the end of the war, standing on the top, planting your flag while pointing and laughing at your opposition. And I was living for every fucking minute of it. And listen, he is right. It is bigger than the music. But I am not going to sit here, a white girl, and give you think pieces on Kendrick Lamar's performance. I will save that for those far more qualified than I. However, I would love to discuss the fact that we were all very obviously losing our fucking minds watching Kendrick drag Drake's soul back and forth across that football field, getting 133 million people to collectively dance on Drake's grave. Oh, not everyone watching the Super Bowl was doing it. I mean, come on. To dance on that Drake's grave, to dance on that man's grave. My mood for all of 2025 will be Kendrick looking into that camera and saying, "Say Drake." That is the kind of legendary, generational pettiness that I aspire to in life. And then Serena, chef's motherfucking kiss. As if Kendrick had not already buried Drake alive in public, he brought out Serena Williams to double tap on that grave. I gasped, I screamed, I ascended to another plane of existence. And yet, some people still have the audacity to complain about Kendrick's halftime performance. You know what, people? I know what people. Those people. The people who have less brain cells in their head than Kendrick Lamar has Grammys. You don't have to like it. We do not care. Now, on to my own personal Super Bowl journey. I know that rooting for the Eagles as a Steelers fan was quite controversial. I literally got death threats for it. And yes, I'm bringing it up for the 700,000th time because that is insane. Anyway, it did feel unnatural at times, and I had to do some mental gymnastics that I didn't even know I was capable of. But I committed. I picked a side, and I stuck to it, and I put my pride aside and did what was necessary for the greater good. And in return, the Lombardi is back in PA, bringing Pennsylvania's total Super Bowl wins to 8. And no, that does not make it the state with the most wins, but it does make us well on our way. That is it for today's episode of Exceptionally Unexceptional. If you enjoyed this version of a Super Bowl recap, then send it to your pettiest friend, or perhaps the one whose new Roman empire is the Kendrick Drake beef they didn't know about until last Sunday. Make sure to follow, rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast, especially if you're feeling extra petty. You can follow me at Kathleen Chantel on TikTok and Instagram, at KCG_says on Twitter, or follow the show at Exceptionally Unexceptional on YouTube or anywhere you get your podcasts. Until next time, be petty, stay dramatic, and as always, never be humble when you're right.